throughout this semester. Finally, last but not least, there are some stylistic practices. So this is, so resolve the 7th of the 7th chord down 1 scale degree. We already talked about that. In the same voice. So if it's in the alto voice, you want to resolve it down to the alto voice, not have it end up in like a tenor voice, even if it means resolving it down. So it's got to stay in the same voice. In the few instances where the resolution tone is not present, either keep the 7th as a common tone or move it to the smallest melodic interval possible. All right, so if you can't move it down a step, move it to the next closest interval, basically. And then all 4 factors of the 7th 5/7 chord are usually present, but for smoothness of voice leading, the 5th may be omitted and the root doubled. So you want to omit the 5th, double the root if you have to make a choice. Let's see. And then the unstylistic departures listed on 201 to 203 apply to 5/7 chords as well. So again, if you have any questions, but the main thing to get out of it is that when you're resolving, you want to find the 7th and that resolves down a step. If you can't get it to resolve down a step, try to either keep it oblique or move it to the next closest thing you can. So either a 3rd or maybe a major 2nd or a 4th if necessary. And it doesn't matter if it's up or down. So let's see. So let's talk about 11 point, where is that? 11.9. So I'm going to have you jump over. You're going to skip over a bunch of stuff. So you're going to do 11.2 and 11.3, and then you're going to skip over and do 11.9. All right, so this is all about same voice leading rules apply. It's just that we're adding in a couple factors of a 6th. So I want you to choose 2. Pick 2 out of these 3, and the same stuff is going to apply. So let's take a look at just the first part of number 1. All right, I don't want to do the whole thing because I'm going to be here all night if I do that, but we can at least get a little bit of it done. So this is 11.9, number 1. I'm just going to do the first couple for you because we run into one right away. So we're in D major. All right. So we've got F sharp, A, whoops. Here's your 1 chord. Okay, so right here we're given a big clue as to what our next note is, right? 6/5. So the actual bass note is here. A. All right, so our chord is going to be a 5/6/5, which means that it's a dominant 7th chord in first inversion, right? So this is going to be the 3rd of our chord. So our 5 chord, which coincidentally, here's A, right? So we've got A, C sharp, E, and G. So this is our 7th chord laid out in root position. So we've got the A up here. We've got the C down here, it's C sharp. So now we just need an E and a G. So our good voice leading principles tell us that it makes sense for, so the A holds on right here, and then we can go maybe down to an E in the alto, So down stepwise. And then maybe down to the G here. All right, we just need to look for perfect fifths or parallel fifths. I think we're okay. This could be a problem. C. Nope, that's a third. We're okay there. All right. So now we've got to locate our seventh. That's the most important one to resolve, right? So our G right here. Here's our seventh. Okay? So now we've got to figure out where to go next. So the bass goes up here. And we still have our A. Real boring soprano part. Right, another A. And we move up to B in the bass. Now there's no six, no nothing telling us that it's an inversion. So we assume it's in root position and that it's a triad. If it doesn't give us anything, all right? So we're gonna move. So here's D, so we're back to 1, right? So we've got D, F, and A, right? As opposed to our A, C, E, G. So our common tone is A, so we're gonna hold that over. And our seventh, let's see, is going to resolve also down to A. All right, so down to the fifth. So here's our nice seventh resolution. Beautiful. All right, and then it's just a matter of filling in that F. So this moves back up to F. Perfect. All right, see how it's done? Pretty simple, not too complicated. So yeah, let's take a short break and then we'll start talking about non-harmonic seventh chords. Okay, now that we've already talked about dominant seventh chords, leading tone seventh chords are going to be even easier. So now we've moved on to chapter 12. Leading tone seventh chords are exactly what it sounds like. They're always going to be the seventh step in whatever key we're in. So, if we're in the key of C major, here's our C major chord, right? It's going to be the seventh step, so the leading tone to C major, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. B is our seventh. So here's 1, here's 7. All right? So they're built on just like that. All right? So this is, and naturally in a major chord, the leading tone seventh, sorry, this looks super bad. The leading tone seventh is naturally going to be half diminished. All right? And the inversions still apply. First inversion, or root position 7, first inversion 6-5, second inversion 4-3, third inversion 4-2. Same with dominant sevenths. Leading tone sevenths are the same way. So naturally in C major, they're going to end up being, you don't need any accidentals or anything like that. Whatever key they're in, if it's major, they're going to fall as half diminished. All right, so again, you put that little slash through. And you can see we've got B, D, F natural. So we've got our diminished triad, right? And then on the outside, we've got a nice minor seventh. All right? So we can do, this is our key of C. Okay? Our diminished, our leading tone 7 is going to start on the B. All right, so this is the Wagner chord, right? So you've got your diminished triad, and then you add in your, right? So minor 7th and diminished triad. Or if you need to hear it an octave lower. Okay, so when we're dealing with a minor scale, right, it's a little bit different, a little more complex. All right, so for an A minor, these fully diminished leading tone 7th chords are built on the harmonic and melodic minor scale only, not the natural minor. If you're on natural minor, it naturally falls into a dominant 7th, all right? So these are all built on that leading tone, right? So in A minor, A, C, E, this is our 1 chord. Our 7th, fully diminished 7, is going to start on the G sharp, right? Because we've got a raised 7th step in melodic and harmonic minor. All right, so it's G sharp, B natural, D, F natural. All right, so all minor thirds. So here's our A minor scale and harmonic. All right, so it's going to start. So here's an A minor chord. And here's our diminished 7th, leading tone 7th. All right, so you can hear these 2 tritones. Right? So our scale is built up of a diminished triad and a diminished 7th, which is the equivalent of a major 6th if you listen to it. Right? So this is just a major 6th. My body lies over the ocean, right? So that's just a diminished 7th chord right there. Yeah, so just be sure that when you're building your 7th chords, you build it on the true leading tone to the minor when you're dealing with the fully diminished 7th chords in a minor key. Let's see. Now, the reason why these guys are special is because they have 3 tones that are related to the dominant 7th. All right? So if we're in the key of C major, our 5/7 chord, starting on G, all right there, has three tones in common. So lots of times it actually sort of just is used as a replacement for a dominant 7th chord. So here's our dominant 7th. And here is our leading tone 7th. All right? So and the same goes for minor. All right, it's just missing the tonic. So in C minor, same thing. Whoops. 5/7. And our leading tone, it's built on the leading tone, right? So this raised 7th step comes into play. This is the leading tone to C minor. Just like that. So again, 3 tones exactly in common, all right?